take you to tune that? That's crazy.
Less than 15 seconds.
Oh my goodness.
It's only 6 strings.
Wow.
But the pedal steel would take longer because for one it was 20 strings and it was 8 foot pedals with 6 knee levers.
Wow, dude. That is amazing.
Great sound. Want me to do this with or without the keyboard?
Whichever you prefer. Like I said, whatever you feel sounds better, you know?
I can go.
All right. So you're all good. It's a task cam. Okay.
Task cam. This is the DR1.
Oh, sweet.
And they don't make them anymore. I went into Guitar Center, and I saw, I think it was like a DR5 or something,
Yeah.
and it was missing one of those functions. They had stopped making one of those functions in it because they thought musicians didn't need it. And I'm going, this is God's gift to rehearsal.
Yeah.
This is everything I need to be able to work with a track and get better at it as fast as I can. To me, it's all about efficiency. When somebody hands me a list of 40 songs and I got 2 weeks to learn them, I need to be able to, I can't just, I'm not fast. I have to work it, I mean, 10 hours a day.
It's that hard practice that you were talking about before.
Yeah, 10 hours a day, literally. I mean, I'm going into start tonight I've just got to tell you about the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. She's known as the star of the county down. That's how they say their county names. We go Riverside County, they say county down. Okay? It's like everything in Europe is, the adjective comes first, and then so he starts, the way I'm doing it, it's like, he's like, I really want to tell you this, man. Like, okay, I'm in. I'm going to tell you this story. And well, of course, don't you know she shows up? And you can tell when she comes in. There's a change in the way I do the music. She walks in, you can tell it's her. She is drop dead gorgeous, And then she starts to dance. And you can tell when she's dancing. You can tell when she does this little twirl. This is in my mind. I took great LSD when I was younger. And then she goes away, and as she goes away, it comes back to him, and he goes, see, didn't I tell you? It's like that. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. I love this. I mean, that whole storyline has developed as I've been playing this song since 1979.
your facial expressions, dude. You still feel something from
Oh, I
that.
do every time I play it. It just blows my mind.
Do you think about her every time you play it?
Do I think about her?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, of course. I can see her dancing. Did you see her dancing?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
thought it.
Where'd I go? She's dancing. She looks like she's wrong.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. And I'm like, who made this shit up? I'm like, how fucking cool is that? It's a great melody.
Yeah.
I take great melodies and I write really nice arrangements to it. It's beautiful. That kind of, is a waltz.
Wrong way. It's fine.
This thing is hissing in here. Sometimes it's really.
Step on the cat's tail.
There's something about, I think,
Step on the cat's tail.
the
The cat's tail.
Yeah, it's like step on the cat's tail.
there's something going on with the electricity in this neighborhood. Sometimes it buzzes so badly I just have to shut it down.
Gosh, yeah, no weird.
So this is probably going to be a very short version.
Okay.
It's too long for me to think I can play with that. I haven't played it in a while. You might recognize it. She didn't recognize it.
Oh, yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I was in awe.
this story. It was for me because I never played a flute before. It was the struggle of trying to figure out how to get a note out of it, literally. And I went to a couple friends and teacher and stuff like that, and watched a lot of stuff online. Started finally getting notes out of it. So really, really working with it. And I'm really good at knowing how to learn an instrument. I've done it a lot of times, and I'm really good at knowing how to practice something and in the most efficient manner and really make a lot of headway. When I got the intermediate flute, there was a drastic change because it's what called an open hole flute. And not only do you have to learn how to blow it and get notes out of it and do the correct fingerings, which were all kind of foreign to me. They're similar to the sax, but there's some drastic differences too. And so it's about getting it all under your muscle memory. And so I'm struggling with that. Plus with the holes, you have to figure it so perfectly or you don't get anything. And so I really struggled with that. And I finally got to a point, I did a recording and I managed to get through it, and I was really frustrated by it. And I went home, and that night I read an article about plugging the holes, and everybody told me when I bought that flute, don't plug the holes. I'm like, I gotta plug the holes. I've got a show coming up, and I've got to be able to play this instrument. So I did that, and all the way through, I always felt like I wasn't getting the projection I needed. I felt like I struggled to get sound into the microphone, out of the instrument, and into the air. It never felt like it just floated out. And I couldn't even say those words at that point. I just knew I was struggling with it. When I got the YAMAHA, it immediately just soars out of it. And the tonality is, to me, mind-blowing. It's so clear. There's no fuzziness around it. It's crystal clear all the way around the edge. And the center of the sound has so much tonality to it. It's the only word I can come up with. There's a rich quality to the tonality of that instrument that just fly out of the instrument so easily. It's still startling. I've only had it for a little while, and it's still startling for me to be able to pick it up and just... Really? You gotta be kidding me. That's crazy. It's such a gift. It's such a gift. And that's this, I mean, it's a pro level flute. The guy who got me into wind instruments is the one who got me into this flute. He plays the same flute. And we talk about, oh my God, the 777. It's just, I mean, he's had better flutes. He's had better flutes. I'm like, whoa. But he's ecstatic with his flute, and so am I. I'm very fortunate. He plays some 45 instruments, and I don't. And my focus right now is so strong on, I want to become the best flute player I possibly can. It's really, really, really feels like what I'm supposed to be doing, so it's really, really important to me to do that. And to have the instrument, I've been through this with a bunch of other instruments, where you start out with an instrument that works, and it starts to hold you back, and then you get the pro level instrument. All of a sudden, the world opens up to you, and that's what's happening. This one's just opening up, saying, go ahead, just play, you don't have to worry about it anymore.
So, please introduce yourself, who you are as a musician, what you're about, what you do currently.
Okay. Hi, I'm Kelly Moore. I am a musician. During the course of my life, I've played 30 instruments. And for a very, very long time, my primary instrument was pedal steel guitar. It was a long evolution. In there, to there, from there, and once the pandemic hit, things started to shift quickly. I ended up playing saxophone, alto saxophone, and now playing saxophone and flute. I don't play pedal steel anymore, but I do play lap steel, which I am really having a great time with. Yeah, and I also play piano. I'm starting to play, I'm in a duo with Bruce Fitzsimmons. We're called Fitz and Moore. And I'm playing flute, alto saxophone, lap steel guitar, and keyboards. That's, the keyboard thing is kind of new. I've been playing piano since I was 5, on and off, and I've gotten really into it over the last, I've gotten really into piano over the last couple of decades, especially the last decade. I've started writing a bunch of arrangements to old Irish, well, British Isles tunes from contradance music, and I've written a couple of original pieces and stuff like that. It's a whole new universe for me. It's almost like in a classical music vein. And at this point too, I'm also studying blues piano because why not?
What?
This is a great story. I was introduced to playing saxophone by a phenomenal musician up in Lancaster. He's from Lancaster, and he does a lot of stuff in LA, studio stuff, and a lot of band stuff, big band, you name it. Jim Simonetti, wonderful man, very, very encouraging. He got me started on saxophone, and I got to a point when I was playing with this jazz band for a fashion show, and Jim had inspired me to buy a digital wind instrument, and so I brought the digital wind instrument to the rehearsals with this band, because there were some tunes that instead of playing sax, there were like trumpets on them, and other instruments, clarinet and stuff like that, and I was like, well, I'll try this digital wind instrument and see how it sounds. Well, the sounds were okay, but they did not compare to the live sax, the real sax. They just didn't cut it. And so one by one, all the songs that I was trying to play these other instruments on the wind instrument on, the band would go, we'd really rather you play sax. I'm like, okay, that works for me. So, okay, 86, that one. And then we got down to one last tune that was clarinet. And I actually also was not physically comfortable with the digital wind instrument. It had so many tiny little buttons that you could inadvertently hit, and now you're not playing what you intend to play, and it sounds like somebody, stepped on the cat's tail. And so I was like, I bet I could rent a clarinet. So I went to the tech who was always taking care of my saxophone and asked him about renting. He laid out 3 instruments for me. He said, play them all. Here's your room. Because you've never played clarinet, here's a beginner's book. I'm going to shut the door. And I couldn't even get a note out of the thing for half an hour. I finally started getting a note out of it. And then I had to go to a chiropractor appointment in the middle of all this. And I told the owner, I was like, look, I'm going to run to this appointment. I'll come back and we'll continue this. He goes, no problem. It's your room, whatever. So as I was driving down there, I called Jim, and I explained the situation to him. He goes, and I told him what instruments I was looking at. He goes, you pick the one you like the best, and you buy it. I'm like, okay, because he said, you're going to not only play sax, you're going to play clarinet and flute. I'm like, okay, triple threat, I'm in. This is the way my life has gone. I'm not really good at finding gigs, they find me. And somebody goes, hey Kelly, you want to do this? I'm like, sure. So I kept that in mind. I'm going to play flute, but I'm going to get this clarinet. And I learned how to play the clarinet in 2 days, and we played that fashion show on 2 days practice with an instrument I'd never played before. And it was with a we were outside in front of City Hall, and a ballerina dancing all around us. It was just me and Dylan on piano. It was a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful piece of music. And just the two of us, we sounded great. And I was so thrilled to be able to play beautiful clarinet tonalities with this gorgeous piano thing and this ballerina dancing around us. So flash ahead a couple of years, and I'm at the sax tech's shop getting just a couple of little things taken care of. And he tells me, my wife and I are going to move back to Kansas. I'm closing the shop. I'm like, I need to buy a flute. So he hands me a flute, and I talk to Jim. I call up Jim, and I talk to him. He goes, buy it. So I bought it, and then I needed a tech once this guy left, and I found the guys up in Murrieta. And he said, Kelly, I've got a better flute for you that I'll sell to you for less. And I already bought the first one. So we met over there, and I bought the second flute, and I was playing it. And we're leading up to this YAMAHA, okay, I promise you. And one day, after, I'm like literally practicing 10 hours a day to get good at this instrument. I want to get as good as I can, as fast as I can. And I know the art of practice. It's an art, and I got it. I've been at this gig for a really long time, and I know how to crunch time down into a small little zone and make it work. So I could feel, one of the things I've learned is you can feel when you buy a lesser quality instrument just to get going. You can feel when it's holding you back. And the flute started holding me back. I could feel it. And I called up Jim, and he said, let's do FaceTime. He gets on FaceTime, and he said, Kelly, here's exactly what you need on a professional level flute. And here's where you need to buy it, and I'm going to go online and find it for you. And he did. And in 3 minutes, I had an email with a link to a YAMAHA 777 HTC flute. I bought it the next morning, and it is mind-blowing. It's absolutely mind-blowing, the difference between an intermediate level flute and a professional flute, and this one is gorgeous. The tonality that just kind of bursts out of it and just cuts through. I swear I could cut through a brick wall with that thing. It's so amazing, and the ease with which I can play it is, I'm like, so I'm gonna, if you want me to, I can tell you the story that leads up to me being a flute player.
Yeah, please.
Okay, because this is fascinating to me, and it's the honest truth. When I was a child, my dad read to me and my twin sister a book called Wind in the Willows by Kenneth Grahame, an English writer. And in that book is chapter number 7, Piper at the Gates of Dawn. And the story is about little baby otter who gets lost. And the whole village of animals is going through the marsh looking for little baby otter. And all of a sudden they hear this magical pipe playing, panpipe playing, this flute playing. And they're like, we should go there. And they go to the edge of a particular part of the marsh, and on the island, in the middle of this pond, is the god Pan. Now, if you don't know the god Pan, he's half man and half goat. Okay? And he's playing the Pan pipes, which are named after him. And it's absolutely, it doesn't get more magical than that. And at his feet, at his hooves, is the little baby otter. He's the lord of the animals. He's taking care of his little baby child. It's not his child, but all of the animals are his children. And he's protecting it with everything he's got as the Lord. And it's just so beautiful. That's the whole story right there. And I never, ever forgot that story. Years later, when I was an adult, I went to the bookstore and I bought that book. I had to reread that story. And after that, my very first album that I ever recorded was back in the days of cassettes. And I wrote a song called Piper at the Gates of Dawn. And the title of the CD, of the cassette, is Piper at the Gates of Dawn. And the lady who did the artwork for the front, she took a photo of me one night after I played a gig over in North Carolina. And she later sent me the artwork, and it's me depicted with like elf ears, like a pan god, playing a panpipe. Yeah, playing the panpipes. I'm like, holy shit, I'm Piper at the Gates of Dawn. Flash forward decades, and now I'm playing flute. But in between, I was in a band in New Hampshire, and we ended up naming ourselves Pan, because we watched what we did with our music to the audiences, and it was magical music. It was the magic of Pan getting their hearts to dance, absolutely wild, completely gone. It was so beautiful. And then years later, I'm writing the song Piper at the Gates of Dawn, and now I'm playing flute. This is a clear, direct line from that childhood to where I am today.
Beautiful, beautiful,
That
beautiful.
was amazing.
Beautiful, beautiful. So,
I get to live this shit. It's a short list, but it's a good one. When I was with the band in New Hampshire, there was Pan. We ended up changing the name of the band to the Family of Pan, because we were a family. We were all living in this place called Black Velvet Cottage in northern New Hampshire, up in the Presidential Range. And there was, 30 people in that family. And we were recording for Reprise Warner Brothers. down in New York City, and our producer was Steve Chapin, Harry Chapin's brother. Harry Chapin is like a god. And Harry Chapin walks into the studio, and we're like, okay, this is cool. Chatted briefly, but working with Steve was really a pleasure. And that was probably one of the first big names I actually worked with. When I was the first year in high school, that first summer, I worked in a summer stock theater in Stowe, Vermont, and we did Sound of Music. And I ended up becoming Friedrich von Trapp, the oldest son in the Sound of Music, in the town that the Von Trapps live in. And they came down, we had the big photo op for the New York Times and the whole bit, with Maria von Trapp and the whole bit. That's probably maybe the first. I worked with, in theater even before that, I worked with some real heavyweights. I was just an apprentice in theaters, and I worked with some real heavyweights from Broadway and stuff like that. They were just phenomenal. Later, for me, performing music, I ended up in Nashville, Tennessee, and did a year of performances with Roy Acuff and Minnie Pearl from the Grand Ole Opry. He's known as the granddaddy of the Grand Ole Opry. And Minnie Pearl is the famous comedian, howdy, with the hat and the tag and all that stuff. They were phenomenal to work with. And again, that came about because of a band I played with in Atlanta. We played in Nashville, and the head of the Opryland Park told me, Kelly, if you ever need a job and you come to Nashville, you just call me. And again, it just fell into my lap, I didn't even have to try, I played with the band, we were good, it was that kind of thing. Just put your heart and soul into it. You'll get there somehow, you'll get somewhere. Then, when I moved here, I ended up playing with a band that was all the 1970s A-listers for the main Linda Ronstadt, Emmylou Harris, the Flying Burrito Brothers, the Everly Brothers, that band out of Colorado, Nitty Gritty Dirt Band, that kind of stuff. And these were, A-listers. When you play with the A-listers, Emmylou Harris said it the best. When you pay for the best, you'll play with the best. And when you play with the best, it's a different universe. The whole thing is easier. Everything is easier. You work your ass off, and it's all easier to do that. There's a space that exists with each of these people that allows everybody to have their own space. And that's why the magic works. Because you get to have your own magic, be your own magic, and allow your magic to flow. That's kind of the short version right there. Anybody that likes the music, it's when you can see a person's heart sing. I've done shows where literally people were in tears because it touched their heart so deep. I was doing a show, a series of shows in New England that I did some down here too, of Broadway tunes. I was singing and dancing Broadway tunes, and I was doing it for senior retirement homes. And I was singing songs that they grew up with. The songs that we loved the best are the ones we knew in our high school and college years. Those are the songs that are most impactful to us. Those are the ones that our hearts are filled with memories. Whenever we hear those songs, that's what touches us. The fastest, the hardest, the deepest. And I was singing songs that these people literally grew up with, and they would be in tears at 80, 90 years old. They would be in tears because I took them back to their childhood. That's precious. That's what music is about to me. When I'm playing flute, I can hear the magic coming out of that instrument. And I can see in people's faces and their eyes how it touches their hearts. That's the whole point of playing music to me. I'm not doing it just for I'm not doing it for the money. I I get to get paid to do it. And that's a beautiful thing. The audiences are the ones that appreciate it, and it doesn't matter to me. Where was I? I went into I like the wineries. I've played the wineries. I've played bars. I've played motorcycle bars. I've played, dives. I've played all kinds of stuff. And I don't really care where I'm playing. If the people are enjoying the music, that's what counts. That's the point. That's why we do it, There are people who prefer to just stay at home and play music, either by themselves or with their friends, and that's lovely. But I have the same, I need to get out and share that beauty that's pouring out of me. I can see it pouring out of me, and I can see the effect that it has on people. And that's why I'm here to do that. I'm meant to do that. However, whatever level I reach, I don't care. I've played to 2 people. I've played to 25,000 people. I don't care. As long as the music is touching their hearts, that's what counts. It's funny. I've never been good at setting goals. I'm terrible at it. I tried back a long time ago when I was in Nashville. I read books on how to set goals and stuff, and I did all the lists and all that stuff, and nothing. Nowhere near. My goal is to let the beauty, the magic, the love pour through me and touch the hearts of everyone. That's it. Music is an amazing vehicle to do that with, because I don't have to put any restrictions on how it happens. I don't have to put any guidelines on it. I don't have to manufacture anything. All I have to do is play. That's my goal. I want to do that as well as I can. I want to get as good as I can so that it becomes easier and easier and easier to succeed at that goal. That's it. That's my purpose for being here on this planet.
And so having that second part, I know, Steve, huh?
Dude, this is good.
I know. I told you.
Okay. One night, when I was living in Vermont, I was married at the time, and we were asleep. It was 2 o'clock in the morning, and I was still awake, and I got to thinking about, I was performing as a solo around Vermont mostly, a little bit around the Northeast. And then I was going down to Nashville, where I'd lived before, and I was starting to do some recording there again. And one night I had this idea, I really want to help. I could contribute a little bit of proceeds from my concerts to the World Flute Program. And I was like, bingo! And the name Music for Mankind popped into my head, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be big. After 6 years of Music for Mankind, this is the short version. I'm going to go back and dig in a little bit because it's good. I fed over 42,000 people. And I went, the World Food Program invited me to go with them to both Nicaragua and Peru to see what the World Food Program was doing. And I created a 30-minute documentary called Nicaragua on the Ground that I will give you a copy of. And it's really heart-touching. Because one day I was in a stone hut with a dirt floor and a wood-burning stove, and the children are all lined up, and I'm handing a bowl of food to a child, and it's her only meal for the day. And I helped to pay for that. Are you fucking kidding me?
Wow.
It's so deep.
Yeah.
And then a friend, one of the people, Americans who was on the trip from Washington, is a professional photographer, and she took a slew of photos and put out a book called The Red Cup of Hope, because that's what they served the water in, was a red plastic cup. And she took a photo of me, of my hands handing the Red Cup of Hope to a child. child. And that became the cover photo of her book. I'm like, can't make this shit up, baby. Just precious, precious stuff. And so early on, what I did was after that, a couple days after I had that vision, I emailed the World Food Program. And I said, look, I'd like your permission to use your name in promoting that I want to contribute to you guys for my concerts. May I have your permission? Monday morning at 10:30 in the morning, I get a call from the Vice President of Friends of the World Food Program in Washington, D.C. She goes, hi, Kelly, this is Margot Horner, Vice President of Friends of the World Food Program in Washington, D.C. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, I just got your email from Rome. I'm like, oh, the headquarters is in Rome? Italy? Yeah, oh, okay. And we're really excited about what you're doing. There's only so much we can do, but we will help you however much we can help you. And later on, because I was in southern Vermont at the time, and she graduated from Bennington College in southern Vermont several years before that. She said, I'm going up to Bennington. Let's get together. I'm like, okay, cool. So while we're having lunch one day at Bennington College, she says to me, and this was the clincher. Sorry. She says, Kelly, why do you want to do this? And I thought, oh, this is where you have the television line, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking, shit, I got nothing. And I said, all I want to do is help. I just want that love to come through. I want that healing to come through. Because that's what it is. It's a healing. And I literally say an affirmation every day for healing for everybody on the planet. Every morning. We can be really, really upset about the horrors that are going on, or we can just pray for healing. What it comes down to is, who are we, what are we, and why are we here? What can we do to help? What we have, the abilities that we discover in ourselves, and they change over the course of our lives. Now, I've several years ago discovered I'm an artist as well, and that's a whole nother thing. And the beauty that comes through the art, it's the same thing. There's no difference. There is no difference in the essence of what we are. We are all made of the same energy, the same spirit. We are of the same spirit. We literally are family. Like the song said, we literally are. This stuff is just the stuff that we're carrying around. Okay, I'll say the line. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. We're spirits having a human experience. We're here dealing with this whole slow-moving thing, growing. Helping each other grow, picking each other up, lifting each other up. Literally, I know it sounds real religious, but it's not. This is not religion, folks. This is the essence of what we are. And it comes through in how we are, what we do, how we care for each other, how we help each other, how we grow, how we learn, how we apply. So, for everybody, and this next generation coming up is stunning. It is stunning. And let's work with each other. Let's support each other. Let's give each other everything we need to continue to grow and help and heal.